Hello and welcome back. Today we are looking at the brand new Warhammer Age of Sigmar Spearhead Partwork series from Hitachi. I did a couple of videos on this late last year while the series was in its trial run. The trial run was successful, and this has now gone to a full series launch. If you're not familiar or you haven't seen the previous videos, Hitachi are a company which primarily deal with collector partwork series. They have a number of various ones throughout. They're currently, you might have seen the videos I'm doing on the Doctor Who Dalek build. I know they've got Disney themed ones. They do a Warhammer 40,000 one. They've done Age of Sigmar in the past as well. Now they're launching with this Spearhead. Each issue you get a magazine with various sections throughout, which we'll look at. You then get something to build up your Warhammer hobby. Usually it's some miniatures, sometimes it's some paints or a paintbrush, but usually it's miniatures. The magazine for the first issue I think is $2.99. I haven't got the price here, but I think the first issue is $2.99. I think the second issue might be $7.99, and then the usual price is $9.99. And as we look at this, I think the series is set to run for 80 issues, building a number of different Spearhead armies. So as a result, this actually works out a lot cheaper than buying, all of these bits directly from Warhammer or Games Workshop or whatever you want to call it. Obviously, the downside is that you're collecting multiple armies and not just one. So if you're already into Warhammer and are collecting a specific army, this may not be for you. However, if you, like myself, don't know the first thing about Age of Sigmar but are interested in getting into this wargaming hobby, either as painting or collecting or playing the actual game itself, and you're interested in collecting a whole set of models to build your armies, then something like Spearhead is an excellent jumping on point, because you get a magazine which is full of lore and history on the characters and the armies. It gives you a painting guide, a building guide, and you obviously build up armies via a much cheaper means than going to the local store and buying them. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get these opened and take a look. So this is issue 1. Here we go. So issue 1 comes with a number of various bits. We get our first 2 models, which are going to be the Lord Vertant and a Warlock Engineer and Gracier. So we get 2 different figures, or 3 figures, building from 2 different armies. In addition to that, you also get a set of dice, which will be needed if you're interested in learning and playing the game. If you have subscribed to the series, then you will also receive through the post a number of free gifts. The very first delivery will come with a pair of clippers, which are useful for snipping these off of the runners. While the initial issues you will not need any modelling glue, future issues you will certainly need modelling glue for. For legal reasons, Hachette can't actually provide this with the magazines or via the post, but you can pick this up from any sort of hobby store quite easily. So that's our initial miniatures. We get our magazine, which we'll look at. We get an initial game board. So you can put this on your kitchen table or whatever, and you've got a backdrop for your armies to begin fighting on. You also then get the official collection poster. This is more an advertisement for what is coming in the series. So opening this up, we can begin to get a look of what we can expect in this series. Age of Sigmar Spearhead. Welcome to Age of Sigmar. In the war-torn mortal realms, the last bastions of order are beset by the forces of chaos, death and destruction. Marshal your troops and prepare for battle with Warhammer, Age of Sigmar Spearhead. This is the time of turmoil. This is the era of war. This is the Age of Sigmar. So here you can see how the magazine is going to break down into various sections. I've been collecting the Warhammer 40k Combat Patrol, so I suspect this is going to be a very, very similar series, and having been privy to get the first few issues of the test run, I can attest to that. Basically, the magazine will fit into a number of ring binders. You will be able to tear open or tear apart the magazine and put all of the pages into their relevant sections. We'll take a closer look at that in a minute. We get an advertisement for our subscriber gifts. So if you subscribe from issues 1, 2, 3 or 4, you will receive 5 free gifts along with 1 free issue. I've obviously during the test run I subscribed to this. I've received issues 1 and 2 yesterday, which obviously we're now taking a look at. I have not been charged for either of these. My assumption is that if you've subscribed from or pre-ordered the subscription for this from issue 1 and 2 essentially account to your free issue, because obviously the price of issue 3 onwards is going to be a lot more than just issues 1 and 2, so you kind of balance out as a fair alternative, if that makes sense. But anyway, in addition to a free issue, you also get the clippers, which we've seen. We will be getting some paintbrushes. We get the first binder free. Subsequent binders are charged for. I think they're normally charged at $7.99, so they are quite pricey. If you're not interested in those binders, you can certainly contact Hachette and ask them not to send those. You may find it's cheaper to go to a hobby store and just buy, or a WH Smith's or whatever, and just buy some cheap ring binders. I've been getting the Warhammer 40k ones for the Combat Patrol. I've just sort of left it and let it run. They sit nicely on the shelves, but yes, you could circumvent that and save yourself a little money on that front, but for the sake of ease, I've just left it, and I will probably leave it with these as well. You will get a Spearhead themed mug with a wraparound image, and then you will also get a free figure. Opening this up, we get a closer look at the magazine and its armies. So here we get a look at what we can expect in the contents of our magazine. So there's going to be chapters to read. This will give various background and stories and history on the armies of the mortal realms. Collect. This will give us further in collecting our armies, naming them, giving backgrounds, etc. There's going to be a build section, which obviously is the instructions for building the figures within. I will say that if this ends up being anything like the Warhammer 40k combat patrol, some of the figures you get have multiple build options, usually weapons or alternate heads or something like that. From experience with the combat patrol, the instructions only give you one set build. Obviously, this makes it easier to understand and learn going in. It helps tie everything to the Spearhead, but you sometimes do get that option to have multiple builds, which isn't typically listed in those instructions. So yeah, you get a painting guide, and the painting guide builds up week by week, issue by issue, from the basic base coats to the highlighting and shading and making these look truly fantastic. And then there is a chapter on play, which gives you the rules, tutorials, play scenarios, etc. To play with. And then you can also get a look at the armies that you'll be receiving throughout the series. It looks like that there is currently 12 complete Spearhead armies to build. There will be the Stormcast Eternals, which are the primarily good guys, I guess, within Spearhead. They're the Spearhead equivalent of the Space Marines from Warhammer 40k. There's Maggot-kin of Nurgle, spread despair and decay with the diseased warriors of the Maggot-kin of Nurgle. Idoneth Deepkin. I'm just going to stop here and apologise if I am butchering any of these names at all. I don't know the first thing about Spearhead or Age of Sigmar or any of that. So all of these armies are going to be completely new to me. I'm going to be learning them as they go along. So if I'm mispronouncing names or I'm butchering them in any way, I do apologise. I don't mean to offend anyone. I don't mean to get anything wrong. This is solely from the perspective of a complete and utter newbie. We have the Skaven, which are like a rat army. Soulblight Gravelords, who are vampires. You get Seraphins, which are like giant lizard dinosaurs. The Cities of Sigmar, which are soldiers. So they, I guess, are just the regular humans. Slaves to Darkness. I'm guessing they're the equivalent of the Chaos Space Marines for 40k. Slaveneth, which look like tree people. Ossiarch Bone Reapers. They look like ghosts and dead people. Gloomspite Gits. They, I'm guessing just from that image, are the goblins, orcs of Sigmar. And Lumineth Realm Lords, which look like a fairy type species. I don't know. Spearheads are small, focused forces drawn from the huge armies that fight for control of the mortal realms, each with their own unique strength that take battle ahead of their fellows to turn the tide of war. So here we get a cross-sell of the armies and the figures we can expect. It also looks like we will be receiving some scenery to build out our battles and things like that, so that should be pretty cool. Additionally, if you subscribe to the series, you can elect to pay a extra premium for the subscription, which is £2.50 an issue. And because of the premium subscription, throughout the run of the series, you will get a total of 4 premium kits. These premium kits are larger scale miniatures. They're bigger figures. They're the more deluxe items you would go and spend quite a bit in Warhammer 4. I did look at these when this was in the trial run, and I think I saw this one at about 80 to 90 quid in Warhammer. I might be wrong on that, but I'm fairly certain this is a rather expensive figure, and through the £2.50 it essentially works out at like nearly half the price you would pay in the actual store, so you are saving a lot of money on these figures as well. So if you're interested in collecting this as a whole and just building or even adding to your armies, definitely consider that as an addition. And then finally, opening this up, I don't think it's going to show up on the camera, and it's upside down, but you do get a poster. The poster is just that front there, obviously blown up. So that's our preview guide. Then finally we have our magazine itself, Spearhead issue 1. The cover dictates or denotes rather the figures you can expect to receive with this issue, which we've seen. So the Vord Vertant, the Warlock Engineer, and the Gracier. We have a contents page. We get the read section, which obviously gives us further information on the history and lore of the Age of Sigmar universe and the Mortal Realms. Collect, which gives us backgrounds on the armies we are building. We get our build chapter, which is obviously a step-by-step guide to follow the instructions and putting our miniatures together. Play gives us tutorials and details on how to play the game, along with various scenarios for playing. And then the background, it always gives us a picture of the armies we can expect, along with some cutout tokens to use. And then the back gives us a look at the future issue or issues. So this shows us what's coming in issue 2, which is this one here. Issue 2 has our miniature sprues, the stands for the figures, and our magazine. Personally, because I have such a big backlog of miniatures to build and paint and everything else, I always keep these in the bags they come in, so that I know what's what and things don't get mixed up. That's just a personal preference of mine. But here we have issue 2. So with issue 2 we get 3 rat ogres, which are 3 big giant rats with some various equipment and tools built into them. So our read gives us further information on the Skaven, which are those rat type armies. Gives us some background on the Vermin Doom. The build section gives us a tutorial on building our figures. Here's actually a good example of how this figure actually has a couple of different build options, and on this occasion they've actually show you which ones are the alternate options. Sometimes they do that, sometimes they don't actually show it, and they want you to follow a specific build. And then we get our first sections for painting. So we get how to paint. Then we get a play section, which gives us obviously more of our tutorials and some more scenarios to use with our new figures. And there we have issues 1 and 2 of the brand new Age of Sigmar Spearhead. I haven't decided if I'm going to do videos for all of this series going forward. But having done one during the trial one, I did feel it was appropriate to just cover the fact that this has now gone to full series. It's now gone live. You can subscribe to this through the Hitachi website. I will try and put a link to that in the description. And then finally, issue 3 is going to give us our first set of Liberators, the Storm's Eye. So there we have it. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, stay safe, and remember, freedom is a right, not a privilege.